Daring Greatly by Brené Brown is a groundbreaking exploration of vulnerability, courage, and the power of embracing our imperfections. Drawing from years of research and personal experience, Brown challenges the notion that vulnerability is a sign of weakness and instead shows that it is the most accurate measure of courage. By learning to embrace vulnerability, Brown argues, we can lead more fulfilling, connected, and wholehearted lives. The book serves as a call to action for readers to step into the arena of life, daring greatly by showing up as our authentic selves, even when it feels uncomfortable. Brown begins by defining vulnerability as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. While many people see vulnerability as a liability or something to be avoided, Brown makes a compelling case that vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. It is also the foundation of meaningful human connection. Vulnerability, she argues, is the courage to show up and let ourselves be seen, even when the outcome is uncertain. Brown addresses the cultural myths that perpetuate the belief that vulnerability is synonymous with weakness. Many people fear being judged or rejected if they reveal their true selves, and as a result, they put up walls to protect themselves. Brown emphasizes that these defenses, while understandable, ultimately prevent us from experiencing real connection and joy. She invites readers to redefine vulnerability as a strength and recognize that it takes immense courage to embrace our fears and insecurities. Central to Brown's exploration of vulnerability is the concept of shame. Shame, according to Brown, is the intensely painful feeling that we are unworthy of love and belonging. It is the voice that tells us we are not good enough, that we are flawed, and that if people truly knew us, they would reject us. Shame is universal, and everyone experiences it at some point in their lives. However, the difference between those who thrive and those who struggle is their ability to recognize and overcome shame. Brown explains that shame thrives in secrecy and silence. By talking about our shame and sharing our stories with people we trust, we can diminish its power. Brown introduces the concept of shame resilience, which involves recognizing shame triggers, reaching out for support, and practicing self-compassion. She encourages readers to cultivate shame resilience by being honest about their experiences and connecting with others who can offer empathy and understanding. Worthiness is another key theme in Daring Greatly. Brown argues that a sense of worthiness is essential to living a wholehearted life. Worthiness means believing that we are enough just as we are, despite our flaws and imperfections. When we accept our worthiness, we are more likely to embrace vulnerability, take risks, and engage in meaningful relationships. Brown encourages readers to let go of perfectionism and the need for approval, as these are barriers to experiencing true connection and joy. Brown extends the concept of vulnerability to leadership, arguing that vulnerability is a crucial component of effective leadership. Many leaders are hesitant to show vulnerability, fearing that it will make them appear weak or incompetent. However, Brown contends that leaders who are willing to be vulnerable foster trust, authenticity, and engagement within their teams. When leaders are open about their challenges and willing to admit their mistakes, they create an environment where others feel safe to do the same. This, in turn, leads to greater innovation and collaboration. Vulnerability is also vital in personal relationships. Brown explains that vulnerability is the key to intimacy, connection, and love. Without vulnerability, relationships become shallow and disconnected. By being vulnerable with our partners, friends, and family members, we create space for genuine connection and emotional intimacy. Brown encourages readers to take risks in their relationships by expressing their true feelings, even when it feels scary. She emphasizes that vulnerability is not about oversharing or seeking validation, but about being honest and authentic with the people who matter most to us. Brown also discusses how to cultivate a culture of vulnerability in organizations, schools, and communities. She argues that our current culture often discourages vulnerability, valuing perfectionism, competition, and control instead. This culture of never enough leaves people feeling disconnected, fearful, and disengaged. Brown calls for a shift toward a culture that values courage, empathy, and connection. To create a culture of vulnerability, Brown suggests that we start by modeling vulnerability ourselves. This means being willing to share our struggles and imperfections, admit when we are wrong, and ask for help when we need it. Brown emphasizes that vulnerability is contagious. When we are open and honest, we give others permission to do the same. She also encourages leaders, educators, and parents to foster environments where people feel safe to take risks, make mistakes, and be themselves. Another important aspect of daring greatly is the idea of letting go of numbing behaviors and perfectionism. Brown explains that many people turn to numbing behaviors, such as overeating, alcohol, or excessive work, to avoid feeling vulnerable. These behaviors provide temporary relief, but ultimately prevent us from fully experiencing life. Brown encourages readers to confront the discomfort of vulnerability rather than trying to escape it. By embracing vulnerability, we can live more authentically and experience greater joy, connection, and fulfillment. Perfectionism is another common defense against vulnerability. Brown describes perfectionism as the belief that if we can just be perfect, we will avoid criticism, blame, and rejection. However, perfectionism is ultimately unattainable and prevents us from being our true selves. Brown encourages readers to let go of perfectionism and embrace the beauty of their imperfections. By doing so, we can connect more deeply with others and live more wholeheartedly. In conclusion, Daring Greatly is a powerful and transformative book that challenges readers to rethink their relationship with vulnerability. Brené Brown's research and insights reveal that vulnerability is not a weakness but a source of strength and courage. By embracing vulnerability, we can build deeper connections, foster a sense of worthiness, and live more fulfilling lives. Brown's message is clear. To live a wholehearted life, we must be willing to show up, take risks, and dare greatly. Brown's work offers a roadmap for individuals, leaders, and communities to create environments where vulnerability is celebrated rather than shamed. Through vulnerability, we can find true connection, purpose, and joy. Daring Greatly is an invitation to step into the arena of life, take risks, and embrace the courage it takes to be imperfect, authentic, and fully human.